Welcome everybody. I've got about a 17-minute really gentle yoga flow to stretch out tight lower backs and a little bit into the hips and the hamstrings. If you are feeling tight and stiff in your low back, one of the best things you can do are some gentle movements. And so I would stress that in each of these positions, you really let your body sink into it and let you know how it's feeling. You don't want to try to force anything. You don't want to try to make it look like what I'm doing if it's causing any pinching or any pain in your low back. And so it's really important to be mindful of that. With that being said, I think you're going to find that this is pretty gentle and feels really good on those days that your low back's a little extra tight. So let's get to it. Let's go ahead and start in one of my favorite positions to stretch out the low back. It's nice and gentle. We're going to start in a child's pose. Feet to the outer edges of your mat. Walk your hands forward and just sink your forehead down to the mat. We're going to hang out here for about 3 full breaths. If you feel like your hips are up a little higher, see if on every exhale you can gently try to pull your butt down towards your heels. Don't force anything, but we really want to bring some length to your spine. We're going to go ahead, walk your left hand to the left side of the mat, right hand on top of the left, and then gently roll your right shoulder toward the ground. It's not meant to touch, but that's where you're putting the pressure. And then we're going to walk the right hand to the right side of the mat, left hand on top. Gently roll that left shoulder toward the mat. And back to the middle. One last child's pose stretch here. And then we're going to roll all the way up to tabletop. So shoulders over your wrists, hips over your knees. On your inhale, we're going to pull your navel down for cow. On your exhale, you're going to round your back, chin to the chest for cat. Your arms will stay straight. We're going to move through this 3 to 5 times. Match it to your breath. None of these are meant to be rushed through. Take your time. You can add in any movements that feel good to your body. If cow, for example, feels like it's a little too much on your low back and you don't like that arch, keep it more of a neutral spine for cow as you look forward before you round into cat. Sometimes it feels good to move the hips side to side as you're doing these. It doesn't have to look a certain way, it just has to feel good to your body. We're trying to get some blood flow through some of those tight muscles to loosen you up a little bit. All right, we're going to make our way to a seated position. You are more than welcome to sit on top of something, like you can sit on top of a rolled up blanket or even a pillow. That may give you a little more space in your lower back to where it feels a little bit better. I'm going to have you cross your legs and you're going to sit up as tall as you can. You're gently going to take your right hand across to the left knee. Your left hand can go down to the mat. You're going to sit up tall and then really gently you're going to twist, looking over your left shoulder. Don't force anything. We'll come back to the middle on your next inhale and swap it out. Left hand to the outside of the right knee and twist, looking over your right shoulder. We're going to do it one more time. I'm just matching it to my inhale to the middle, exhale to the left. If you're feeling a really good stretch, you may want to stay there a little bit longer than I am, and that's perfectly fine. We're going to come to the middle and back to your right. And then we'll just make our way back to center, kind of a neutral spine. You're going to take your left hand, place it right next to your left hip. Reach your right hand up toward the ceiling. You want to think about lengthening your spine and then doing a gentle side bend over to your left side. So we're stretching out the right side all the way down to the low back and all the way up through the obliques and the lats. Come to the middle, set your right hand down by your right hip. Left hand reaches up and over. Back down. One more time each side. Right hand reaches up and over for a gentle seated side bend. Right hand comes down by the right waist. Left hand goes up and over. And then we're gently going to make our way onto our backs. However you want to get there, maybe a little gentler for your low back if you start by coming down on your side and then turning to the center. Do what feels good to your body. We're going to start by extending the left leg long, and you're going to hug your right knee into your chest. Feel your low back muscles sink into the mat. You want to relax into the mat as much as you can. You're not straining your shoulders, trying to pull that knee in. Everything's just relaxed. Slow your breathing down. One more inhale. And full exhale. You're going to take your left hand, pull this right knee gently across the body. Your right arm will come out so your shoulder blade is glued to the ground. And just kind of a gentle supine twist. Don't force anything, especially if your low back's a little sore. You want to do really gentle movements. If this feels okay, you can extend your legs straight, but if you're feeling tight, keep the knee bent. And we'll gently come back to the center. One more knee hug, right knee to the chest. We're going to throw in a little hamstring lengthener here. Sometimes when the low back is tight, the hamstrings tighten up too. So you're gently going to extend your right toes up toward the ceiling and just grab right behind the right thigh. And then gently pull the right thigh back towards your chest and point your right toes to the ceiling and then flex your toes back. If you feel anything in your low back, you can bend your left knee, set your left foot on the ground. That'll keep your hips in a little more neutral position for your spine. If your hamstring's feeling okay, you can actually reach up and grab your right big toe with your pointer finger and your middle finger. But again, don't force anything. You can also just keep your hands behind your thigh. I'm just giving you some different options. A deeper stretch is not always better if your back's a little bit sore. And then you can gently extend your right leg straight out on the mat. Hug your left knee into your chest, and we're going to do the same thing on the left side. First move, you're just sinking your low back down into the mat, relaxing the low back as much as possible. One more inhale, full exhale, and then we'll supine twist. Your right hand gently grabs the outside of the left knee. Left hand extends long out to the side, palm facing up toward the ceiling. And pull that knee across the body. You can straighten out the leg on this side if it feels okay, but you do not have to. Gently come back to the middle. One more time, hugging the left knee in towards your chest. And then slowly extend your left toes up toward the ceiling. Hug behind your left thigh. Pull back as much as you feel comfortable till you feel a nice stretch in the hamstring. Bringing length there, not straining anything. And you can start pointing the toe and flexing the toe. One of my biggest ahas with yoga and mobility and flexibility in general is that more is not always better. Deeper is not always better if it comes at the expense of like you actually feeling it in the right spot. Sometimes we try to force things and our bodies will tighten up to protect us. So it's much better to start slow, take the gentler stretch and build into a deeper stretch. Good, and then you can set the left foot down by the right foot. We're gonna actually bend both knees. This is one of my favorite gentle mobility moves for the low back and the hips. We're gonna do some windshield wipers. So my arms are extended out even with my chest, palms up toward the ceiling. I'm gonna walk my feet to the outside edges of the mat. First, I'm gonna let my knees drop in toward each other. And then I'm slowly gonna let both of them fall down to the left side, just to the point that you feel comfortable. And then you're gonna come back to the middle and we're gonna windshield wiper the knees side to side. I'm just doing one full breath at the bottom of each side, and then I'm moving on to the other side. So we're moving through this stretch. One more time each side. And last side. Come back to the middle. We're gonna go into a happy baby. So a couple options for this one. In happy baby, your goal is to actually keep your spine flat to the mat. And so you're gonna start by hugging one knee and then the other knee, and you're kind of pulling them out wide as you feel comfortable, kind of opening up the inner thighs a little bit. You're keeping your spine flat. This may be enough of a stretch for you. The next option is to extend your feet up toward the ceiling and grab the outside of the foot with your hand. Same thing on the other side. And then you try to work and get your tailbone down to the mat. If you're lifted a little bit here, it's okay as long as you're feeling like it's a nice, gentle low back stretch. If you're feeling any pinching or pressure that does not feel good, let go of your feet and just hug around your shins or your knees. So we want to find what works for your body. And just slow your breathing down. One more inhale. And exhale, we can gently set feet back down on the mat. And we're going to do one more stretch here. You're going to take your right ankle across your left thigh. This may be enough of a stretch for you. You'll take your right hand, gently push your right knee forward. And you should feel a stretch in the outer right hip. If that feels okay to you, you can hug behind your left thigh and pull that left foot up in the air. And it's going to be a little bit of a deeper stretch in your outer right hip area. People don't realize how much these tight hips and glutes can impact the low back as well. So these are good to get stretched out. You can gently set that left foot down, and we're going to swap it out. Right foot down, left ankle across your right thigh. You can first start by just kind of gently pushing that left knee forward, feeling a nice opener in the outer left hip. If that feels pretty good, you can go ahead and lift your right foot up in the air, hug behind your right thigh. If you're really tight here, a lot of people are, don't feel bad. You can loop a towel through and behind your hamstring here, and then you can hang onto the towel here if it's hard for you to hug it with your hands, if you feel like you're straining. One more deep inhale. And exhale, both feet can come down to the ground. And from here, we're gonna just do a couple minutes of Shavasana, where we really focus on slowing our breathing down, relaxing all the muscles in your body. So true Shavasana, your legs are out, your arms are out, everything just falls open and hangs open that way. If your low back is feeling a little bit tight, it might be better for you to put a pillow under your knees and elevate them that way. That'll get your back flat and more neutral. It might feel better to you to have your knees bent, feet flat on the ground, and have your knees kind of fall in toward each other. Find a position that works for you. And then we're gonna hang out here, focusing on our breathing. On your inhale, you wanna feel your stomach rise. Eventually your chest will rise. Pause at the top of your breath for a full second, and then slowly exhale, feeling your chest fall and your stomach fall. Pay attention to getting those nice, full, deep breaths. Now I'm going to leave you in silence. If you have a little extra time to hang out in Shavasana, I suggest that you go for it. It does so many wonderful things for your body and your mind. If you have to get going with your day, let's go ahead and slowly wiggle fingers and toes. Gently wake your body up. We'll go ahead and turn over to one side. And then slowly make your way up to the seated position. And thank you for stretching out with me today. Namaste.